This has been a long one.
We're live. But I don't know about anybody else who was feeling it, but this has probably, I don't know why, like we're here on Friday, but this has probably felt like the hardest week in a long time. I can't, nothing bad happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't even tell you that anything bad happened. It's just, I just know it's been, I feel like my body's been through the ringer.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Compounded trauma and grief. That's what we call it. Compounded trauma and grief. There's too much going on.
You know those ones where I normally sit in front of my bookcase in the front room, but you know what? I was just like, I'm inside. I'm on the beanbag, the super beanbag today, where I've got my cozies on, and I just thought I'm just gonna sit in my cozy corner. This is my studying corner with all of my books.
Oh yes,
all of my racism books. You know, to tell people about themselves. That's Tilly the tiger.
Listen,
Tilly the tiger.
Listen, right. Well, listen. While we get some people joining, which hopefully they will do soon, let me just drop a little track.
Oh, why am I scared?
You don't need to be. Not everyone will know this, but it doesn't matter. Hey, Jasmine Sullivan.
Oh,
it's really weird. I can't hear it that much. You might have to make it louder.
I hear it.
No,
not really, Shereen.
Hold on, let me swap my sounds.
I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
She's just swapping over the sound. She's just swapping over the sound. So she's just saying we're swapping over the sound, and then she's going to come back. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, lip reading skills.
Born fast and nosy.
Listen.
Well, I love that. Born fast and nosy.
When you are an only child and you don't have kids, other kids play with you, sit there and you watch the adult.
India, do you know any single men? I know we're live, so everyone's listening to me right now. Do you know any single men? Because I am single, and my dad is about one more day from shipping me off to get married to a goat. This is how close it is for me right now. Everyone needs something. You guys are all laughing. When you don't see me on the next live session because I'm married up some mountain somewhere, you only have yourself to blame because I'm warning you all right now.
We're gonna make sure that we at the airport when he tries to send you, so we can protect you.
Please do. My dad is at the point where he's just like, he's trying to hook me up with a woman. I'm like, Dad, I'm straight. And he's like, look, I will take anything at this point. Do you know what I'm like, Dad, please? I'm like, Dad, please.
See, this is the thing. I'm one of the long time married crew, and we tend to attract the long time married crew people. Right?
Do those long time married people have single people?
Yes.
No, listen, you're right though. Let me think. The thing is though,
James, mind your business. James,
no, you can't tell him to mind his business because you're gonna put your business out there in the street. James, you're single, ready for mingle.
Yes, that's but
I need you to be a pastor. I need you to be my pastor in this,
I'm gonna hold out for you though. I'm gonna keep my eyes open. Now that you've asked, I'll pay more attention. Except that the thing is, right? Given that old married person thing and knowing old married people, I know some divorcees, but you might not want them. I can tell you. Because the reason why they're not married anymore, you don't want to take on. So
I don't want them, India.
Listen,
I do not want them.
I got to start from fresh, so it might be a little more of a personal challenge. But we'll work on it. I'll work on it. I promise.
Thank you. I'll send you a DM.
Testing. I can just see you saying.
Everyone can slide into my DMs if you want. It's absolutely fine.
It's officially on the market.
Don't even be like, oh, this is LinkedIn. This is a professional platform.
Listen, you guys,
slide in my DMs. It's fine. Can't hear you, Shereen.
She said, "You guys, you can go." She can't get the sound going.
Okay.
So we got to sign out.
No. She's saying she's basically saying carry on.
Hello everyone. Right, so hi everybody.
Last time it was me missing. Now it's Shereen. I don't feel bad now. Yes.
Exactly.
But you have a stand-in.
No, but we're going to introduce you. For everybody who doesn't know who this fine lady is up here in the right-hand corner, we have the wonderful India Gary Martin. And she is coming to bring some extra seasoning. I hope everybody here is ready.
Hello. Thank you, everyone. we've got India, Gary Martin with us, and we're all fangirls, basically.
Really, totally.
Can I just say, the first time India and I spoke on LinkedIn, she called me a gift to the world. And I was like, oh my God, this is the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. And that was off the back of my video where I was, having that
Abby,
bit of a heartbreak.
Focus now, today.
No, I'm just saying, we have a super awesome, wonderful, pro, positivity, pro love, pro light. And we are going to be talking about black hair in the workplace, which, hello to all of our friends around the world. It's wonderful to have you all in here. Shereen is coming back. She's just got some technical issues. So I guess, Leanne, do you want to kick off or India kick off?
Yeah, I can go for it. Oh, actually, India, no, you're the guest.
India, you're the guest.
You're the guest. Sorry, excuse my bad.
And I'm not just the guest. I'm the elder. Right? So we have to remember the order of things.
I felt like that was a conch in my head. Like
no, it was not. It was not. I'm embracing my eldership. That's what I'm trying to do. This is about me embracing that, that thing. And I say this all the time. People laugh, but it's that that's that half of 100 thing that I have to now embrace, which I'm holding.
So I guess it's really about black hair in the workplace and what that means for us as black women, and what that means for women of color as well, and how that's mainly really hindered us being authentic in the workplace, and how we've had to always wear a mask, and while people are running their greasy hands through our hair, how we've just had to submit to it, I think through fear of, we can discuss that, through fear of so many things. So India, you take it away. Let's go.
Okay, I have lots to say about this. I've been thinking about it for 2 weeks, and here's the thing. We've all seen what happens when folks raise their issues around the injustices that we face in the workplace, and the way that we wear our hair and the implications of that, and even the rules that exist around how we can in some places is injustice, right? But you're much less likely to speak out against that injustice if it's tied to your livelihood, right? And so we bear a whole bunch of things. Like, when you think about our hair, right? We are the most versatile people in the world when it comes to hair. I mean, versatile. I think my hair has been through every iteration of everything that you could possibly imagine, and maybe in 3 days' time. Right, so I've got all of that in 3 days. Right, so from braid to weave to wig to whatever it is in like 3 days, and that's it's an adornment for us, right? Yeah. Our hair is our crown. It's an adornment, and to not be able to
it's an adornment. I love that
openly and freely in our workspaces is really challenging. I remember. I used to love to wear my hair in micro braids, really tiny ones, the ones that take 15 hours to do.
Yeah.
So, and I just remember, I'm dating myself, but back in the 90s in London, right, going to work with these micro braids in financial services, and, just the questions and questions. I don't mind you saying that's beautiful. How long did that take? I mean, because it does look like it takes a long time, but I do mind you touching it.
Yes.
I do mind offhanded comments about professionalism. And did I just come back from holiday because my hair was in, micro braids, as if that was because for a lot of people, that's a holiday hairstyle, right? You go on the beach in Jamaica and
you get your hair done and right.
and so those kinds of questions are actually a question about who I am and my being. So you're like challenging me at the very core of being a Black woman when I can't wear my hair as my ancestors naturally did. And it's a problem, right? Yeah. And I get that some of it is genuine curiosity, because for people, I'd go to work like this, next day hair here, and they're like, "My gosh, your hair has grown!" Like, but that just tells you how professional my hair is. But the other thing that's important, and let me just take one step back, is trying to conform, right? In terms of what our hair might look like, so that it's acceptable for white people in the workspace, means spending a lot of money too. right? Because if you're going to go and put the creamy crack in your hair, relaxer, for those of you who don't know what that is, if you're going to go and do that, if you're going to, you know, do all this stuff, it costs a lot of money. And so, you know, it's almost an inequity in some ways, because you have an expectation that I spend, not understanding how much money I have to spend for my hair to look like that, which is socially acceptable to you.
Right.
Right. And so that creates an inequity in terms of me having to spend my money to do that, just so I feel like I can fit in an environment where I should actually be able to step in as I am in my natural state, or however I want to. The operative thing is, the operative words are because I want to. So I should wear my hair the way I want to, because I want to, not because I have to.
Also, India, I think, listening to what you're... Sorry, Leanne, go on.
No, I was just going to say also, it's that point in terms of conformity. It's like feeling, and this is a personal one for me in that sense. It's feeling like you have to have dark hair. So anytime I've had time out of, let's say, outside of working, taking time out, being on maternity, whatever, I felt as though I could actually dye my hair blonde or go really, really light. Hello. Because...
Keep going, Leanne. It's fine.
Because, you know, it's not viewed as being professional for a Black woman to have blonde hair in the office. Listen, I see you. I see you. I'm taking tips. I see you. But it's those hurdles that you have to overcome, as you said, because you feel as though you have to conform, or people ask you, how does that work? You know, when you have a weave, they sew it in. Is it painful? It's like, well, does it matter? Either you like the way it looks or you don't. It's either you like the way it looks or you don't, and you shouldn't really, you know, as you said, question my decision because I choose to wear my hair the way I want to, and
Which
not the way
I wanted to say, what does my hair have to do with how I'm performing my work? This is what I want people to understand. What does that have to do with how I deliver? My hair is on my head. That's it. It's got nothing to do with me performing as an employee, do you know? And I think one of the things that really grates on me is what we're talking about in assimilating into the workplace. And, you know, there's been so many instances through my career where I have seen white women wear, you know, box braids, and I've seen them wear, like, literally box braids, and I've seen them wear, box braids at work, and I've seen them put in dreadlocks. You know, the very thing that they've said is not professional to a Black person, the very hairstyle that they've said is dirty, it's nappy, it's maybe not using the word nappy, that's more of our word, but do you know what I mean? It's not acceptable. Do you know what I mean? But then I've seen it with my own two eyes, where someone who said, we were talking about cultural misappropriation earlier, a few weeks back, where someone's come in and they've worn box braids, or they've worn pick and drops, which is those tiny braids that you're talking about, India, or you know, box braids and whatever, and no one bats an eyelid. But I'm thinking, hold on one second, we've just turned down a candidate for a role because you thought they weren't going to be a good culture fit because of the hairstyle that they wore, and they were a Black person. So where is the disconnect? What is going on here? You know, how can you accept someone misappropriating a culture and allowing them to progress further, you know, and then turn someone else down for a job in the company wearing the hairstyle of their ancestors? I don't understand how it makes sense.
But I think, Abby, there's a part of, if you think about the way the professional workplace is set up, if you think about how they have codes of conduct or the guidelines as to what you wear, big earrings, there's certain things that are fundamental to Black culture that are automatically deemed as unprofessional. So when you look at the construct itself, it is something that is meant to exclude us. Because the things that we do, the way, you know, they say, okay, you're an employee, you represent the company. And the company's code of conduct says, thou shalt not wear this.
Thou shalt not be Black.
And that's exactly the point. No, and that's the point, Abby. Everything is done. Someone said to me, shockingly, it is a friend of mine, but someone said to me, you know, the thing is, she thinks she finds afros, she's very senior. She said, you know, she finds afros cool on men, but on women, she finds them unkempt. Now, and now imagine you are going for a job and she's interviewing you. You may have the best CV, but the first thing she sees is your hair. Because in her mind, what's professional is this.
Absolutely, but that's exactly what I was alluding to before. You know, and Abby, your comment about, you know, white people coming into the workspace with hairstyles that essentially are ours, to some extent. And, you know, I don't mind sharing because they are beautiful, but the difference between how people are treated who are white who might do this and people who are black who might do this, I have I mean, something popped into my mind right then when you said that, and that's because for them it's decoration. For us, it's culture.
Oh,
right.
Say that again, please, India. Say that again.
For them, it's decoration, and for us, it's our culture. Like, our culture is so tied to our hair, right? I mean, it is. It's a part of who we are. You know, our beautiful crowns is a part of who we are, and you know, again, we have to fit into majority culture societal standards in the workspaces, which on top of societal standards has its own code of standards, right? In terms of how we should look and what we should wear. When I first started working, I couldn't even wear trousers to work. Like, the women had to wear skirts. I'm not kidding. And this was this was 90s, right? So I'm just saying, if you think about the kind of code of conduct standards that organizations have, they're tight, they are white, and you know, we kind of have to fit into them. No, but they are, right? And so you know, and you talk about color, you know, hair color, and I've worn my hair with blonde highlight streaks or whatever for years. Like, this is not a new thing for me, and I did it in the workspace. Here's the thing, and I'm going to keep it 100, right? My complexion, right? I can get away with things because of my complexion. Let's call it what it is, and not even and put everything on the table. Right. But somebody darker than me who might start getting, you know, people start having opinions or thoughts, or why does she have blonde hair? Right. So that is the closer to white is all right behavior.
You know, do you know what, India? You are absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. I'm not sure if you've heard in our previous ones, but I said my mom, I'm the darkest member of my family. My mom is incredibly fair, fairer than you. And she used to do, remember, like the platinum Cisco shortcuts with the platinum thing. Yeah, my mom used to rock that, and no one would ever bat an eyelid. But her best mate got my skin complexion. She used to do something, so maybe not as platinum, but still, it was bright, and everyone had something to say. Everybody had something to say, and you know what? It was because of us. You know, again, when I was 15, 16, growing up, you just don't stop to think about those things. But actually, now that you've mentioned it, it was colorism. It was because of it was because of how dark the melanin was in their skin.
Yeah,
and you're right. Because again, it goes back to assimilation. You can assimilate easily because of that skin complexion.
Complexion is that texture.
Yep.
Right, hair texture is a part of that too. So you know, so this is deep and layered and nuanced. It is not just about how we show up with our hair in the workspaces. It is how we are perceived based upon the texture, how we are perceived based upon the color, how we're perceived based upon how well we assimilate, frankly, right? And you know, the darker you are, the straighter they want to see your hair, because it you know, there's that what's that thing in common, right? They look at me and they're thinking,
balance off, like you're not too black, so you would be acceptable still with blonde highlights but curly hair. That would be it's okay. So you've got the black.
Okay, well, let me just say this. Let me say this. I don't have that hair. That's one thing I didn't get. Okay, just so you know.
Yeah.
My hair is like this is relaxed for a reason. If I want to have this look, this is a look because I don't have that thing, and I'm being really honest about that. Maybe complexion, but not the hair. So, and that's okay. Like, I'm proud of my hair, and I've worn it natural before, but the difference, and you know, the other thing I've noticed in this space, right? The difference between just even feeling seen when I'm wearing my hair straight versus when I'm wearing it natural.
Yeah.
Right. And because when I wear it natural, it is Afro hair. I have Afro hair, and I'm happy, proud of my Afro hair. But when I've worn it, like, especially, and you know, sometimes, you know, coming back to work, let's just say after holiday, I was like, I'm not straightening this mess. I'm just going to like let it, just people not even recognizing me.
Isn't that interesting? It's so funny how many times I have cut my hair short. You know, I leave my, you know, do all the braids, do all the different hairstyles that we do, and then I'll cut my hair short when I get bored. And people walk past me in the workplace, and I'm like, "Morning," and they're like, "Oh my God, Abby, I can't believe that's you!" Like, who else would it be?
But how different should you look? Or is it that thing about as soon as they see afro, let me block it out because that is too black for me?
But that's subconscious, right? I don't. People aren't consciously doing that. Those are the societal norms that people are fed, and the biases that they have because of all the millions of messages we get every day about standards of beauty and what's beautiful and what's acceptable and all of those things. And so it really does require people doing some really conscious work around not doing that. And here's the thing: what's the emotional connection for them to want to do that? Right? People don't make shifts unless it touches them emotionally and it connects with them emotionally. So what's the emotional connection to get somebody who has always seen it this way and is completely unconsciously and is just kind of moving through life and making decisions and choices and everything else about somebody? What's the rub for them to do that?
There is.
And so that's why you have to shift who's sitting in the seats of power in order
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because that means, because I know that, you know, if I see a Black person sitting, you know, at the leadership table, I feel like there's a path for me.
Exactly. Absolutely. Bang on, India. With my HR hat on, that's exactly what it is. It's why I'm so passionate about inclusive hiring, because we need to see representation at the top of the food chain. Otherwise, we're going to be like, you know, it's just, this is not a space for us. I do want to ask you both a question, actually, as I've been listening to you both speak. How do we, you know, given how society has painted, you know, misogynoir, you know, how they've painted Black women in particular, how do you get, I don't know if you saw a few months ago, there was a video that went viral around the world of this British Black woman in the workplace who had her natural hair out, and she had about 4 white colleagues, and they were all putting their fingers in her hair and they were like pulling it, and, you know, and she was just standing there, obviously clearly very, very uncomfortable. And, you know, every Black person was thinking she wanted to just slap their hand out of the way, but of course she needs to protect her salary, you know what I mean? How do we get to a space where we can say to people, please don't touch my hair, you know, please, I don't like that, you know, and this is, you know, I'm not a monkey in a zoo, you're not petting me, do you know what I mean? Sorry, terrible animal to use there. That was the animal that just jumped it. That was the first animal that jumped
it. That's your unconscious coming in.
Exactly.
You've been fed all these years?
Exactly.
That was just any animal that just said monkey. Do you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? It's like, how do we get to a point where we're just like, you know, because so many people, so again, going back to that particular video that went viral, a lot of people were saying under the comment, why didn't she say something? I can't believe she's just standing there and allow them to pull her hair and play with her hair. Why is she not defending herself? And I'm thinking, hold on, everybody, let's just take our foot off the gas. She has 5 white people around her. She was a receptionist. She's a receptionist with 5 powerful white people around her. What do you think she's going to say? How do you think she can navigate that conversation without anyone accusing her of being the aggressor? Or without someone turning around and saying, well, you know, what was that about? Her attitude, she's angry, she's scary. How do you get out of a situation like that?
So, you know, I'm sorry, Leanne, I had to jump. That I was like, but you know, this is the thing. With age, I lose my train of thought, so I got to say it real quick before it goes. But you know what immediately came to my mind when I thought about that picture was chattel, right? And that us having been chattel is embedded in our DNA. For those of us who are, you know, well, actually, it doesn't matter. Slavery, colonialism, any of that. We've all been chattel to some extent, right? And that I had this image of a Black woman being sold on an auction block and them touching her. And that's and it's embedded in our DNA, right? Because, you know, the images of that is forever embedded in our DNA. And so I thought about just what that feels like for somebody to be touching you as if you're cattle, as if you're property, as if they can, right? So this is the thing for me, though. Like, you know, and again, I'm saying this from a position of power. And I say that, and being completely frank, right? I was very senior in my organization. Nobody was coming to touch my hair, right? Nobody was coming to my office without knocking on the door, frankly. So they definitely weren't going to be touching my hair. But as I think about having grown through that, I think you just have to, I mean, like, there is something about just saying, no, And no, I understand why she didn't 100%. And I could imagine the shock that you might be in, the horror you might be in, and not even being able to respond to all of that. So I think that's the key thing. And I think that, you know, if I leave one thing with people as they think about wanting to touch someone's hair, it's about the history and legacy of what that means in terms of touching someone without their permission, particularly Black people who have been terrorized, frankly, over history around being touched, and what that means and what that brings up for us, because you don't own me.
No.
Right. And that's important. So ownership, you touching me without my permission means that somehow you own me. Nobody owns me and nobody owns you. So that hair thing, that touching people's hair, particularly when it's in its beautiful natural state, takes me to something that I'm not prepared to have to deal with in the workplace. And it might not come out so nicely if it would happen in that way because of what it evokes for me.
And I was going to say, just to add to that, just bear with me on my point. I'm going to get to it, but when you talked about that, Abby, it took me to a different place, and the place it took me to, because no one's ever tried to touch my hair.
But lucky you, Leanne.
I'm trying to touch mine.
No,
but lucky both of you, because everyone keeps trying to touch mine.
But the place it did take me to was this. The place it took me to was when I was pregnant for the first time and I had a big belly, and people in the office kept touching my belly. And the first time it happens, you're shocked because you're thinking, why would anybody do it?
Yeah.
The second time it happens, you're like, hold on, but why am I allowing it? And the third time, you see the hand move, and I swatted someone's hand away in the office to make it clear, don't touch me, don't touch my stomach. But I think in the first moment that somebody crosses your boundary that you're not expecting, there is a huge shock element that you don't understand why they feel they have the authority to do that.
Yeah.
And I think for anybody that's happened to, the first time you don't, like, I can't, as I said, it's not happened to me, but the first time, I'm sure your first reaction is, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't believe someone's really touching my hair, as you said, like I'm an animal in the zoo. And I think only once you process it that you say, actually, you know something, I'm going to tell you to go about your business.
You know what? That's a brilliant example, Leanne. With the pregnancy, actually. I think maybe for me, maybe because of all those, you know, those loaded terms you get with being a Black, for me, because I've had just, you know, everyone knows I always have horror stories, because I've had so many horror stories with being in the workplace, you know, from, you know, being called angry, being called, you know, all of those words and scary and things like that, that when people do touch my hair, even as bold and outspoken as I am, and the many times it's happened, I haven't been able to get past that, because I have, like, you know, politely moved my head or something, you know what I mean? But I haven't actually ever said to anyone, don't touch my head, you know, and sometimes that surprised me about how all of a sudden very timid I get.
But it's not timid, it's shock, right? I mean, like, you don't expect somebody to walk up and put their hands in your hair. And I would say this, when my hair looks like this, nobody touches it. When I wear like braids or if I do something else, then they want to touch it, right? It's when it's not what they recognize as being kind of their normal hair. Right? And then it's kind of like, ooh, nice. And I'm like, oh, but you're not ever expecting anybody to walk up and touch you, right? And I was laughing because when you talked about, you know, your pregnancy, there was somebody in the comments who was talking about his biceps, like when he was he was like, somebody's touching me, you know, and that's correct. And that whole thing of touching people because you're curious or like the way they look, what is that? Like, honestly, what is that?
And the thing is, to your point as well, is that your immediate thing is, after you get the shock, you're like, well, if I react, how am I going to be perceived? And he said, imagine if I react, I will be accused of being the big Black guy. If we react, what are you going to be? You're going to be the aggressive Black woman who's getting touching. And I think what people fail to realize about hair in the world, or hair in general, once you make a point about it, it becomes a thing. It becomes a fetish. So when people say, why are you guys always so sensitive about your hair? If you just left it.
Sorry. That's a brilliant comment. I don't know if you can see. Apologies. I think it's a Turkish name, so I can't.
It's Gunjan. It's Gunjan. I know Gunjan. Yeah. He's amazing.
You know, saying, that's a brilliant one. Like to touch because it's a certain dominance type of move from their part. They like to be the most powerful person in the room, and I think actually that's really true. It's just again to remind you of your place. Back to exactly that dynamic.
But it's subconscious again, right? Because it is how things have always been, right? So again, when you're asking people to shift those behavior, you're asking them to do some work that they have just don't even understand, right? And don't understand even how it is. And because people don't even understand history, right? And isn't told in that way, it's hard to get them to shift around this kind of touching thing, and touching my hair, feeling my hair, whatever it might be. But it's something that's so deeply embedded into our societies, right? The value of people, Black people and people of color, right? And what that means, and the ownership of Black people and people of color. And that historically, even if you think about what happens in school, people are taught about the dominance of white people over Black people and people of color. That starts at the time they're in primary school, right? So if that's what they know all the way through the workplace, you can't be surprised they're going to touch your hair. Now they might draw back a broken hand for touching my hair, but the reality is you can't be surprised about the things that have led to us being able to getting to that point. Right.
Because as you said, there's been a pride in their history, the pride in being the dominant culture. This is what we've done. We've taken all these countries, we've colonialized, we've dominated. So who dare tell us what to do? Why are you being, and I think that's where that microaggression, why are you being sensitive? What's the big deal? Why are you getting so touchy about it? It's only hair. Well, if it were only hair, then why do you need to touch mine?
Touch your own.
Right? If it's only hair, why do you need to put your hands in my hair? Just keep it away. I mean, when I left my hair natural, as in Afro natural, like with some gel and whatever, somebody asked me, "Oh, what's going on with you?" I was like, "What do you mean, what's going on with me? This is how my hair goes out my head. Nothing's going on with me. I just didn't feel like I wanted straight hair."
I have a really good thing people can do. I have a great idea. You can go to the wig shop and they got all the hair. You can go touch it all you want. You can go into the wig shop. You can touch dreadlocks. You can touch braids. You can touch afro. You can touch whatever you want. There's a solution.
Packs on Peckham Rye Lane and Stroud Green Road. There are many hair shops in London.
We're done.
Go and touch them, please.
There's many hair shops in every metropolitan area around the world. You can go into a hair shop and you can test and touch. If you're really curious, there's a solution. Done. Let's go help attack them.
Right. And if someone said here, "Oh, look at these. Is this all yours?" Yes, because I bought it.
Right?
Because I grew it.
If it costs me money, it is mine. Whether I grew out of the follicles of my headpiece or not,
I paid for it. I paid for the workmanship. No, I didn't pay for it. It belongs to me, my property.
Hello guys, right? I'm in.
Yay.
Technical issues, I know. Conflictions with the mic, and I can't fix it without rebooting my computer. But if I reboot, we lose. So that's why I was like, I tried everything, and that's the only thing it needs resetting. So we can't. So, but I'm here. But I'll be listening. Just the back to the workplace. The one thing that I want to say, because when people knew I was doing this, right? Somebody said to me like I get that you're doing this. Like it's great that you're touching on all of these subjects, but what has black hair? Why is that a thing in the context of racism? Now, this person genuinely, when I say genuinely had no idea why it's a thing, because even in their mind, they were thinking like, is it just about hairstyles? Do you know what I mean? And is it because then they said, well, I really want to do my hair in this way, but I was so self-conscious about coming in. Obviously, they were a white person. So I'm really self-conscious about coming into the office. And so I didn't. So to some extent, we all have that. It gets back to this whole, all of us have very aspects, right? And what I was saying to this person is what you've got to understand is when you're just as like everything that you guys have said about the backdrop of being in a white society that normalizes white, straight, fine hair, is that there's a next level of anxiety that you feel when you're going to get your bag for work, when you're going to get your travel card, right, or you're getting in your car, you're bracing yourself for thinking, if my hair is not on point today, it's not just about somebody going, oh, like your hair, like how white people can come out of the shower and just go into the office and somebody's like, oh, didn't have time to dry your hair. Like we wish that was the depth of the comments about our hair. And that's what I was trying to understand, right? And she didn't get it. And, and I said, it's this whole connotation with the fact that our hair looking the way that it does, and people go, oh, I wish I had your hair, and just like you said, the hand goes out and it touches and all the rest of it, and it becomes a thing when you're the only Black person in a space. And I keep going back to when there's not a lot of you and it's not normal because people are not seeing it as normal. You are abnormal because you're Black, because your hair texture is different, right? And because they don't associate your hair texture or your hairstyle with professionalism, which means that is a block to you progressing, because what they say is, well, you got a client facing role, and like and then all of a sudden, if you switch up your hair and you put a weave in or you get it straightened, all of a sudden, like, you're invited to all of these things. And it's because they now feel like you look acceptable in their eyes.
Like them.
It's so deep. It's the deepest.
What Lana just said there is brilliant. I thought it was
I can't even.
I mean,
that is
wow. I mean, I wish I had that. I wish I had that.
I don't know. I have that. I don't know if I have that bravery.
No, my mouth is firmly shut. I'm not even gonna lie, because I can't even say the word that you said here now, because I feel nervous.
Yeah. But sometimes it takes the shock back, right? That's back shock. You shocked me by touching me without asking me, and I wasn't ready. So let me give you something you're not ready for. But I was gonna say to what you said, Shereen, that that thing about, like, so when I think about when I would change my hair, like if I went from this to braids and and then I was going back to work, I had to brace myself. I would be like, okay, what are people gonna say? And you feel it. And the thing is, why that additional pressure on top of just going to work? Because it is there are 75 different things that Black people have to think about being Black, for being the first. You need to step out of the door. So so when I have to think about my hair as well, sometimes it's almost like a lot of us, we'll straighten our hair because it's the path of least resistance, because you just can't take yet another microaggression that's going to occur. Just the Black ones happen already. Now you add that I've done something to my hair to make people want to, engage with me about that. And it's yet another thing I have to think about. And so I sometimes just stick with the easy, acceptable thing. And that is such a repressive thing that that we have to do, and it really does start to eat away at you over time.
Yeah, because we're internalizing the fact that something that we have no control over, like you said, Lee, and how our hair grows out of our hair is not acceptable. And just like everything else with all the other 74 things that you mentioned, India, right, that we got to think about, working while Black, is the fact that you then go, what is the easiest thing that I can shed to be accepted? Right? So I'll shed my hair, and then I'll shed this. I'll shed the way I talk. I'll shed this. I'll shed that. And we get to the point where we've got to now, where, like, literally a lot of Black people are going, enough is enough. There is nothing left for me to shed to still exist.
Right.
There is no what else can I take off? I can buy soap and cream to lighten my skin. Right? Because we've taken it that far to try and literally, there is nothing left for me to shed anymore. And that's when I think I say collective we, like, I know not everybody's in that space, but I think that's where we've got to this point about the fact that, like, I'm tired. That's why I've reshaved off half my head.
Yeah.
I've cut it off before, that wasn't a choice thing. That was, I've had the short thing. But every time, and I remember when I grew it out, one of the directors said, you look so much better with your hair like this. And that was like keratin straightened hair that costs like £250 a time. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was the epitome of wash and go, because it was like super easy. But what he was saying is that my natural hair is not good enough. This straightened European hair, you look really nice. Now you're ready for this position.
Yep.
But the correlation.
Yeah. People don't understand the burden, and like the burden that you have. Someone talked about, changing out their wigs or weaves over the weekend so that they strategy-wise to make sure they weren't too dissimilar. It's that thing about, you go to work, as you said, Shereen, you drop everything, you leave all of your Blackness at door. And the one thing, you know, you get your hair done, you're feeling sweet, you talk to your family, you talk to your friends, and they're like, yeah, man, your hair's looking good, and you're feeling good, and you're feeling nice on Sunday night, and everything is good. And Monday morning, you're like,
guessing you up, they're guessing you up. They're like, that is their lick.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, look at that. Oh man, my head's hurting. The weave's so tight. The plaits are so tight. Can you see it? I look like I got a facelift, you know.
And they were like, girl,
but you feel
because you look good. And
you got your braids and you got your clips in and whatever, and you're feeling good. And then all of a sudden, reality sets in that you've got to go to work.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's that part about, okay, so what kind of comments am I gonna get? And how many of those are going to be positive? And before you even get to the door, that woman that was skanking out of the house, feeling the lick, whatever, just wants to go unnoticed. But before you even get to the lift, you got new hair? Oh, you're always changing your hair.
This is the thing. Somebody said, I've heard that my entire career. I would say, oh, thanks, but my hair isn't for you, which I get. But then you get to the angry Black woman thing because you say something, right? And it continues. And I'm not saying that you don't do it. I'm just saying the implications of standing up for oneself about something that's very personal to you. You know, you stand up for yourself and you say, "Don't touch. Can you not touch my hair?" Or "No, please don't touch my hair." Or "But my hair is not for you; it's for me." When you say something that I don't, you know, that I take offense to, but then you're angry. Right. And I'm not angry.
Yeah, exactly.
I own me, not you. You don't own me. I own me. And I'm just asserting my dominance over myself.
Right.
Right. So you can assert your dominance over your children. That's where you can go assert your dominance.
I did say to my boss, I mean, not necessarily he wasn't touching my hair, but I did say to one of my boss one time when I had I think I had my hair in Bantu knots, and he actually really liked it. And I think I changed it again, and I had it in box braids, but they were really long braids. You know, the ones that come to your ankles that take 24 hours.
Back in the day.
Were you walking like this, Abby?
Yeah,
were you walking like this?
Mate, I had a neck brace. I had to wear a neck brace for about 2 months. You know them ones. You know them ones. And them ones.
The flat and your head the wind.
But you know what? I remember him saying, "Oh, I really liked it." I mean, it did come from a good place, but I just remember my little clap back, and I was like, "Oh, Abby, you can still praise your salary, so take it easy." But he was just like, "Oh, he was like, oh, I really like the hair that you had in like a few months." And I remember saying, "Well, next time you want to pay for it, let me know because it's really expensive. So next time." I didn't ask your opinion, but if you want to pay for it, let me know. And you know when it was a bit of a cheeky clapback, but you know when you catch yourself and you're like, oh, that man does pay your salary. So, and I think again that's why I'm always a bit like when people have opinions that I did not ask them for, did not ask anybody for their opinions, but they want to share it with me. I'm like, just grin and smile and bear it, abs. Just don't worry about it. Just and yeah, it's.
Can I ask a question? There was somebody who made this comment, and I'm really curious to know what you all think about it. And she said she was curious to know what we all thought of. This is much earlier, but it just stuck with me because I was thinking about it. She was curious to know what we all think about the fact that sometimes we judge each other's natural hair in the workplace more harshly than others do. You know, and because of how other Black people might respond, right? And a part of that, I think, is don't make it worse for us, the collective kind of thing. But that's just my opinion.
Do not bring shame to the family, even though we're not family in this sense. Don't bring shame to the name. That's what we used to say back in the day. Don't bring shame to the name. So because if you're not on point and there's only a few of us here, if they start looking at you like you're moving mad, they think I'm moving mad.
Right. And I was also going to say, like, I think a lot of us like to, as you said, India, you said, this is my hair, it's relaxed. This is my wig. This did not grow out of my head. But I think a lot of people like to pretend that this is their hair. So when another Black person comes in rocking natural hair, they're like, don't let them know that my hair doesn't really.
Yours too?
No. Right about now, this lace front that I've got going on, they think it's mine. So just please. I don't want them to know how Black I really am. I don't want them to know that I might be thinking and doing the same things that this person with all their bravery is doing over there. And that's why we judge each other, because you're like, no. Can I just keep up this face for the office? When I get off, I'm going to take this off. But shh.
And at the same time, at perpetuating the very system we're trying to break by judging each other. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's pushing the it's acting as a catalyst. Do you know what I mean? And because sometimes I can't with fellow Black people. I just cannot.
But that's our own conditioning. That's our conditioning.
Right. And I was also just about to say, though, part of the reason why we are where we are here for lots of different reasons is we've never addressed the reasons why we've had to put in interventions, right? We've never really addressed that. So we've never addressed why we have to go for diversity and inclusion to get Black people into the table. So rather than fix the system, we've just gone to create a solution over here, which will never fix the system. Do you know what I mean? So even like I heard you guys at the beginning, when I was messing with my mic, and we were talking about you can't be what you can't see, and this whole idea of representation. It's massively important, but don't get it twisted. There's a lot of organisations who think representation is going to solve this racism issue, right? That's not what we're saying, but that's how they're perceiving it. So they're saying, if I get more Black people, I'm done. That's me done.
I missed some of that, what you said, Shereen, a little bit.
You froze, Shereen, on my
No,
screen.
I was saying that.
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, no, I was saying that some people assume. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah. Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Oh.
I was just saying. Yeah, and I was just saying that some people are having more. You can't hear me. Carry on.
Well, so I can't believe Shereen's having the technical issues this week.
Sorry, can I just say about one really good comment? There was one comment that said, from Melanie Trotman, said, I feel like sometimes that's more about just feeling like it's no one's business. We don't ask if their blonde hair is naturally blonde.
Woo! That's a mic drop, Melanie.
Boom.
Mic drop. Tell him.
My friend, that's my friend.
Because yes, because you know what? There is enough man right about now during coronavirus found out that their wives weren't blonde. Let me tell you.
They thought they were going to bed with like Cameron Diaz, and they woke up next to someone else completely.
Right. And let's also be honest. Everyone talks about Black women with extensions in the workplace and blah blah blah.
It's not women wear extensions the most.
Right, but it's that thing about
the tracks from like Pluto. The tracks that go.
That's the truth, though. But the thing is, people don't assume it, right? Because they won't assume that a white woman has weave or tracks in her hair, right? And that's what's really interesting. You know what was another interesting comment that came up from Donna? And she said, the more of us show up as our natural self, it allows others to show up as themselves. And this is the thing, though. I'm tired of having to be the beacon for other people. Right. And I hear you, Donna. I hear the point that you're making, but why do I have to be the experiment?
Absolutely. Why can't somebody else take the damn baton from me? Why can't somebody else take the baton, take the torch, and you run with it? Why do I have to keep carrying the Olympic flame on my own?
That's it. That's it. And here's the other thing, though. This is the other thing, and I'll be honest about my own experience. There have absolutely, before I really checked myself on a lot of things. And I think, as we grow, as we become older, as we have more experiences, and as we recognize that the brainwashing that's occurred for every single one of us earlier, and I'm glad to see people are starting to wake up. And I'm not, I'll just take a step. Let me say what I was going to say. There were certainly times in my corporate career much earlier, where I would see somebody with more natural hair and think of them in a different way than I thought about everybody else. I'm being really honest, right? And when I say that, what I mean is, and it's not necessarily thinking they were brave, but immediately thinking they were different. Me as a Black person thinking another Black person was different, and that they didn't care about their career, and making assumptions about what I was like, they don't care about their career. They only care about, showing up and wearing braids or wearing their locks or doing whatever it is. And I'm being really honest when I say that about early on in my career, because being one of the only Black people, I absolutely assimilated and absolutely took on some of the characteristics, which you do when you don't have diverse thought around you, and when you don't have people around you, you start to take on some of that stuff, and you have to check yourself. It is such a conscious decision to stand in your power and be who you are. And not because it's a gradual thing, right? You might not go in that way, but on the other side of that, if you're not careful, you can start to take on some of the characteristics of the people that we're talking about, not necessarily in terms of touching, but in terms of behaviors. And so I can think of a couple of times where there were people who I thought, not necessarily that they were brave, but that they didn't care about their corporate career and they were just who they were. And they might stay at that level for the rest of their career. And that was based upon how they looked as a Black person with natural hair. Yeah. Because that was the brainwashing that's what I had taken on over time. Now, I mean, and even for some years now, I've been in a very different place. And more so, and when it shifted for me is when I moved into a role of power where I could allow people to be who they were. Right. So when I had a 15,000 person organization, I didn't care how people wore their hair. Right. And that's when it shifted for me, though, right? Because I suddenly was in a position of power to be able to make those decisions about people who worked in my business. And that's a whole thing.
India, I want to ask you a question, but do you think that is about you as an individual, because you're powerful in your own right? I don't mean because of the title, I just mean because of the way you are. Because I have worked for people who are very senior, who might be Black or of a different ethnicity, and because they're conscious of how senior they are, they would never do what you did because that is to risk their position. Do you know what I mean?
Come back to that.
Can you?
You know what I mean?
Shereen, can you
coffee? Maybe sneeze.
Tanika's Ivy's comment. that's people are mad.
I can't, I believe it, but that's out of order. That's out of order. I can't.
People are mad.
Nikki, please write in the comments what you did, Nikki. Please write in the comments, because
we want to know what happened.
Please tell me what you did. I need to know. Even if it was nothing, it doesn't matter. I just need to know how that played out, because after I hear the wig jig is up, I don't even know what I want to do.
No real talk. Okay, so I can answer your question now, Shereen, in the meantime.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, one of the reasons that, and this is, my own journey, one of the reasons I made the decision to endure some of the things I did to get into the seat that I got into was because I wanted to be able to shift the landscape and shift what it looked like, what the business that I worked in, the company that I worked in looked like. And I understood very early, having civil rights revolutionary parents, that the only way to shift that was to get in those seats myself. Right. Because nobody's going to give you the power to make those changes. And the people in the seats of power are the folks who can affect the change, frankly. You can raise your voice as much as you want. If you can't pull the levers, then you're still relying upon somebody else to do it. And so in answer to your question, a part of that was me, and I wanted to be able to do that. But I also think that there are lots of Black people who are concerned and worried about their position. Yeah. And it's tied to their livelihood. So I do understand it. Right?
That's why,
I was absolutely an outlier in a lot of ways, but I was quite stealth and quiet with mine. Right? I just did stuff, right? I didn't.
You didn't tell nobody.
No, I didn't. I mean, I just kind of did things. I started to shift the way that my organization looked in terms of the racial construct of it, in terms of a gender construct of it, a whole bunch of things that I started to focus on, and that's great. But if you bring that back to the fact that I didn't care, right? I didn't care what they said, but eventually I had to leave.
Right. So
I'm not in those places anymore. And it was the personal tension more than it was what they demanded of me. It was the personal tension that became too high for me.
Yeah. I just want to go back to Shaniqua here. Nikki, I just want to say this, right? So the first thing I want to say is that you did not need to type the first word shamefully, because there is nothing shameful in your reaction. And I do want to just, it's one thing for us. We when we hear stories like this and we're like, oh my God, people are so out of order. That's outrageous. And we like collectively gas each other up from a point of support to say that's out of order. But the reality is, when you are in the moment, and I go back to when you are not of the majority and it's you on your own, everything is isolated. So You cannot clap back in some situations. You cannot tell somebody about themselves. You cannot beat down their hands and tell them about their business. You just can't do that because you will be shown the door. So I think when I would say other people who don't understand this, whether you're white or other, and you're thinking, oh my God, I would never allow somebody to do that to me. Like India said,
until you're in the moment.
But not only that, it creeps up on you.
Yeah.
You don't wake up in the morning and say, right, people are going to come to me with their bullshit and I'm just going to accept it. It doesn't start off like that. You start off with the one going, no. And then when you see what happens when you do that, and you see we're conditioned by our treatment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So when you see what happens,
yeah,
you then it's not even safe for you to protect yourself. It's just not. It's not safe. Exactly. So I wanted to make that point.
Shereen, now you gang, my little gang signs for Shereen there. I mean, everything Shereen just said, and that's why I was saying that for all of my bravado and for how, you know, blunt I am and all things like that, the moments that people have touched my hair, I have just stood there like an idiot and I haven't said anything.
No, but Abby, but you said like an idiot. You weren't an idiot.
I know. But you know,
that's the thing.
It's the language.
I'm just like,
no, but it's the language that also cages us. It's that you say I was an idiot. You weren't. You didn't expect it. You didn't know what to do. You didn't understand it.
I always freeze. Afterwards.
Me too.
Listen,
why would you just stand there like a wally? Sorry, I'm saying again. Why would you allow them?
Yeah. But no. Listen. Right.
But listen to the words: shame, wally, idiot, all the things, right? That were ascribed to us earlier in our histories, colonial, slavery, whatever it might be, that have become a part of our language, have become a part of how we identify ourselves. And I'm not saying we're taking it on, right? But, you know, these kind of like really slight things, which are real carryovers from oppression. And continue oppression, but like, you know, more significantly. And so it's
because you can't push back as a people. We cannot, for all our bravado, for all of our talk.
Exactly. Yeah.
We can't push back. So it's where does the saying "don't bite the hand that feeds you" come from?
Exactly.
Where does that saying come from?
But to also go back to India's point, as soon as we do defend ourselves, we are then categorized in the trope that has been created for us, that we are then angry
or ungrateful.
Right.
I'm grateful you touched my hair today. Run your fingers through it. What?
Yeah, because you're daring India to come out of your place and use your voice against the dominant person. How dare you get back in your box, little lady, because I'm the person paying your bills.
And we can see it played out even now, where there are some people that are being
Shereen,
they're doing it in another version.
We've missed you. Sorry, it broke up.
It broke up again.
I was like singing, I was rapping, I was everything. I was doing the most. You just missed it all. Like you missed it all.
But you know what? I feel good that it's not me getting cuts this week, so I'm all good right now.
No, do you know what it is? My partner was streaming basketball. I was like, excuse my French,
right now,
are you insane? That's why I came off the camera.
Taking up the bandwidth. What?
Oh my God.
So yeah, I'm just letting you
run off every 2 weeks on these sessions. Every 2 weeks, run out. It's like Shereen, leave us alone, man.
Listen, I've got things to do. Like basketball is not it right now.
All of a sudden, the camera starts spinning. Everyone's like, "What's going on?" Where's Shereen?
I was cussing. I had to mute everything from the camera. No, I was saying it was this whole idea of know your place. And even now, you know, I still, to this hour, I will have people once a week whispering in my ear, saying to me, you know, I've just got to be mindful that I need to get paid.
Excuse me? Mindful.
Mm-hmm. That's normal. That's normal. That's that's the norm. Let's be realistic. Again, when you talk about, the thing is, we all have bills to pay, right? And if somebody else is paying your bills, and listen, this is not, when I say that, I'm not telling people to run out and be entrepreneurs, because that's a whole nother thing. I'm talking about the fact that for most people don't have what that takes, because that's a whole situation. But for most people who are in the workplace, this is tied to your ability to be able to feed yourself and your family, house yourself, to be able to have transport, to do any of the things that everybody else gets to do. So when it's tied to your livelihood, I'm absolutely mindful about what I say and what I do that might impact that, right? And it's that thing I talked about in terms of, in your mind thinking somebody doesn't have aspirations because they're prepared to buck the norm because they wear their hair natural or whatever it might be, right? And so then you're talking also about my ability to continue to earn. So I might be earning, but then I can't earn more in rate with inflation, in rate with everything else that's happening. I'm flat. So that's why people are mindful. And I think more people are mindful than not mindful. That's my guess.
No, I know. Well, listen, guys, we've been going for an hour, so unfortunately there is no music. So it's will you come back when I can get my sound sorted out? Because I had tunes laid out ready.
I'm so mad about
everything was there.
Mad. I was so ready. I had my shoulders ready to go. I was ready to go, and I'm so mad.
I can't even do anything. I can't even help this situation. DJ Shereen don't tell us nothing, so I can't even help. I'm sorry.
We don't know what songs are coming until she drops them, so we can't even.
I don't even know what tunes. No, I don't tell them.
I feel like you need to sing us out. Just give us a singing outro, just something that everyone can just do a little head nod.
No.
I can't do that. So if you're happy to come back, we'll have you back. We got more things to talk about, I'm sure. But
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it so much. I love watching you, as all of you as it is. So to be able to talk to you real time and tell you what I'm really thinking is usually doing this to myself. You're talking, and so am I. I'm like, yes, girl, this is what's happening. Yes, I have something to say about that. So now that I get to do it, I've been able to get a little bit of it out, and I can wait until the next time you invite me because I just had so much to say.
Yeah. No, and well, I'm going to let you guys close this out with a comment. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my sound, but you know what? It is what it is. But more importantly, this conversation was really important. I could hear when I was tweeting some tweets. So I think there's a lot of people who appreciated just hearing the honesty and the candor. And this is the sort of conversation that unfortunately we're still not having in an accessible way. That's my key phrase with what I do. It's about accessibility. We have to stop these conversations behind closed doors, because if we don't help people understand, then it is what it is. So Abby, I'll go to you before we
my comment is mind your business, keep your hands to yourself. Mind your business, keep your hands to yourself, and just say, you look good, you look beautiful, you look wonderful. I hope you have a lovely day. And that's it. That's it. That will keep you in a good mood. But keep your hands to yourself. I admire from afar. That's it. That's my comment.
I'm not even sure I really have a comment. Just to say, however we wear our hair, just love yourself and embrace it. It's always going to be a battle for us until people accept our hair, but just know that you accept your hair and that you know that you're beautiful. And it's a work in progress. Nobody has to be perfect tomorrow. Nobody has to be perfect going forward. We all will get there, but just love yourself as you are. That's it. That's mine.
Oh, well, thank you. And look, I feel really bad now. Look, I'm so sorry. Look, listen. All I can say is I might just jump on and do a live in the middle of the week, even if it's just by myself. I'll just record a little video. I'll just drop some little tunes, just quick, just to give people a little, just give people.
Shereen, we need that. We need that music.
We do. We need it.
We need it. I might just say we're just going to jump on and do a live. I'm not even going to advertise it. We'll just jump on, do a little piece of something. It's important. It's important conversation. So I'm pleased we were still able to have it. So.
And can you just put a Pastor P for Abby?
Oh no, I knew you were gonna say that. I was like, I hope no one
what did he say?
Abby.
Nothing. Don't put it up.
Man.
Yes, Naya.
Yes, Naya.
Thank you, Pastor.
You have lots of agents on for you, don't you, Abby?
You know what? If you guys Shereen, I said earlier on, you weren't on this, but I'm saying that my dad's gonna bundle me in the back of a car and sell me to the highest bidder at this point. This man needs to see me married. There are no children, grandkids, nothing in the family. So everyone's just like, come on, Abby. And I'm like, come on, give me a break. I'm trying. I'm trying. So, yeah, there you go.
Oh look, somebody's like call to action. I'm sorry, I don't even know, but just like, well, I'll see. I've got to get this up. You know what'll happen? I'll close this and the sound will work. I know it. I have to restart. There's nothing I can do.
Shereen. It's gonna be all this behavior.
No, you know what it is? Okay, no, I'll tell you what I will do. If anybody wants to still hang around, when we close out, I will go back in and I will just play some of the tunes that I was gonna play. That's what I will do. How about that? Shall I do that?
Yes, please.
Yeah. And this is what I'll do. So we're gonna, because we've got a little bit of time, because we normally go to like 1:20. So I'm gonna end the broadcast. I'm gonna drop the ladies a link. If they want to jump on, they can jump on. And then I promise you, because I just need to reset my computer. That's all I need.
I practice my dance, so I need to be on. I practice.
All right. I'll close it out. I'll be back.
I show my children.
Do you have time to get a beverage?
Yeah, you've got give it 5 minutes and just come back. You'll see the music playing. You'll hear the bass. Trust me, because I got everything hooked up. I just need to reboot my laptop so I can do that. 5 minutes.
All right.
Okay, cool. Yes,
Bye.
Bye.
So do we go?